Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Tessie and today we're going to be recreating this jumpsuit. If you're new to the channel, you're welcome. If you're here to subscribe, kindly do that and let's get right into the video. So guys, if you're following my channel, you should know how I draft my bodies. So I've gone ahead to draft out my bodies. As you can see, I have 2 inches for my zip allowance. So we'll be working on the front part first. So for the front part, I'm going to be chalking my neckline. So for the neckline, I'm making use of 4 inches. So the wideness is 4 inches. So after chalking 4 inches, now it depends on how deep you want it to be. My client doesn't want it revealing. So from the shoulder, I'm going to be coming down to 7 inches. So you can go down to 8 inches, 9 inches. It depends on your preference. For me, I'm going to be working with 7 inches. So I chalk 7 inches and I'll be connecting from the neckline to that 7 inches line. So now we'll be checking the Queen Anne neckline. So from here, I'm just going to curve it all the way down to that 7 inches. So from the shoulder, I'll come down to 4 inches. So from my shoulder, I came down to 4 inches. And from that 4 inches, I'm just going to give it a sweetheart neck all the way down here. So I'll use my curve ruler to do that. So guys, after curving, this is what it looks like, as you can see. So I'm just going to use my chalk to make the lines visible. So we are good to go with the neckline of the front. I'll go ahead now to cut it out. So at the top part, I added half inch for joining allowance. So we're good to go. Once you open your fabric, it should be looking like this. So you can see what it looks like. So if you want it deep, you can make yours deeper than this. So for the back, I'm going to be chalking the neckline for the back. So for the neckline, you use 4 inches as well. So for the depth, it depends on your preference. For me, I'm just going to be working with 3 inches. And then I'll curve my back neckline. Then I'll cut it out. So we're good to go. So what I'll do is cut out lining piece for both the front and the back. So we'll be cutting the down part, that's the trouser part of the jumpsuit. So I'll chalk my starting point. My fabric is folded into 2. After checking my starting point, I'll be taking my half length off. So I took out my half length, which is 17 inches. Then I chalked the length of my jumpsuit. So what I'll do next is to chalk from the waist to the hip. So from the waist to the hip, I'm using 10 inches. So I chalked 10 inches and connected it into a straight line. Then the next line is my crotch. Now to get your crotch normally is the hip measurement divided by 4 plus extra 1 inch. But since this is a jumpsuit, I'll be adding another extra 1 inch to my crotch line. So I added 1 inch more, which is 13 inches. I chalked and connected it into a straight line. After doing that, what I'll be doing next is chalking from the waist to my knee. So from the waist to my knee is 20 inches. I chalked it down and connected it into a straight line. So what I'll be doing next is on my hip line, I'll be placing my hip measurement divided by 4 and I'll be adding extra 1 inch for sewing allowance. So my hip divided by 4 plus 1 inch, I'll chalk it down there. What I'll do next is from the hip, I'll connect to the waistline. Next line is the crotch. So at the crotch, I'll be placing my round lap measurement divided by 2. So my round lap divided by 2, I'll chalk it down there and I'll be adding extra 1.5 inches for my sewing allowance. So I'll just curve from the hip to the crotch. So after doing that, we are good to go. So what I'll be doing next is at the waistline, from this point, I'll be placing my waist measurement divided by 4. So my waist divided by 4, I chalked it down and I'll also add 1 inch for my sewing allowance. So from the waist, I'm just going to connect all the way down to the crotch line. So now I don't want this palazzo. In case you want it free, from this point, just connect all the way down. But since I want it a bit tight, not too tight, but a bit tight, I'm just going to check what I have at that crotch line. So whatever you have at your crotch line, divide it into 2. So what I had there, I divided it into 2. I chalked it down. So from that point, I'm just going to make a straight line all the way down. So guys, next thing is to get the round knee measurement. You divide it by 2. Whatever you get, you divide it in both sides. So my round knee is 20 inches, divided by 2 is 10. So I'll be placing 5 inches at this part and also 5 inches on the other part. So since I don't want it too tight, I'm just going to be making it 6 inches. So I place 6 inches here, as you can see, and I'm going to be placing 6 inches on this other side as well. So I don't want it too tight. So what I'll do is connect my lines. So from this point, I'll connect to the 6 inches all the way down and also connect from this crotch all the way down. So just watch what I'm doing. So guys, after connecting my line, we're good to go. So at the waistline, I'll come down here by 1 inch. So come down by 1 inch, then you slant from this point all the way down to that 1 inches. We are good to go with the front. I'll go ahead now to cut. So guys, I have several videos on how to make a jumpsuit. This is just another type of jumpsuit. You can watch that other video for a clearer understanding. So after cutting, we're good to go. For the back, I folded my fabric into 2. So I'm just going to place the front on the back. So all the allowance will be taken on this side of the fabric. So I'm going to be chalking 2 inches for my allowance. So 2 inches all the way down. So from the waist 2 inches, at the hip 2 inches, at the crotch 2 inches, at the knee 2 inches, and at the jumpsuit length 2 inches. I connected the lines as you can see. So at the waistline here, I'll come up by 1.5 inches. Then from that point, I'm just going to connect to the waistline. So after doing that, I'll go ahead now to cut out my back. So guys, if you're watching this video to this point and you're yet to like or subscribe, kindly do that and let's get right back. So guys, after cutting out my front, I'll just label the back. Then I'm going to be joining the front and the back together. So I'll be taking one side of the front, I'll place it at the back. So I join one of the front and one of the back together. So I'll just place them right side facing each other this way. I'll do the same thing for the other side. Place one of the front on the back. Then at the side, I'm just going to be stitching using 1 inch all the way down. So I'll do the same thing for this side as well. I'll use 1 inch all the way down. After stitching, this is what it looks like. So what I'll do is place the both together this way. So what I'll be doing next is stitching. So I'm going to be stitching the front area. So from the waist, I'll stitch using 1/2 inch all the way down to the crotch. So after stitching all the way down to the crotch, I'm just going to flip it to the other side. Then I'm going to be chalking from the waist to my hip line. So after doing that, what I'll be doing next is placing my waist measurement divided by 2. So my waist divided by 2, I'm going to be chalking it at this point. I'll chalk it down. Then I'll also chalk my hip measurement divided by 2. So I'll place it here and then chalk it down. So I'll connect from the waist to the hip. Then from here, I'm just going to go 1/2 inch all the way down to the crotch. So I'll connect my lines and then stitch on that line. So guys, after stitching, I'm just going to join the crotch area together. Make sure the lines are together. Place them together this way. And then you stitch using 1/2 inch all the way down. So I'll go ahead and stitch. Then for the top bodies, I've gone ahead to cut out my lining. I'll place them right side facing each other and then stitch 1/2 inch on the neckline. Make sure you curve your neckline the way you can see it. Then stitch the sides, then notch and also do the same thing for the back. So after notching, I'm just going to give it a very good press and then join the zip allowance area for now. After doing that, I'll place the front and the back together, right side facing each other. Then stitch the shoulder area using 1/2 inch. After stitching the shoulder, I'll go ahead to shape my top part. After doing that, I'll be adding the front and the down part together. So I've opened the zip allowance area for the front. I've also opened the zip allowance area for the back. So I'll join the top part and the down part together. So I'll go ahead, pin them down, join them using 1/2 inch all the way down to the zip line. So guys, what I did next was to cut out my sleeve as you can see. So I'm just going to open it for you guys to see. So for the sleeve, the length of my sleeve is 30 inches. I want it long. So I'm going to fold the down part. After folding the down part, we're going to be attaching elastic at this part. So from the down part, you chalk where you want your elastic to start from. So for me, I want it to be 6 inches. So go ahead, chalk out 6 inches. Then you take your elastic and then you stitch at the wrong side. You drag your elastic while stitching so that it can be a bit stretchy. So I'll do the same thing for this other sleeve. After doing that, this is what it looks like, as you can see. So I'll go ahead now to attach my sleeve on the dress, add my zip, fold the down part, and show us the end result. So guys, this is the end result. She doesn't really want to take pictures. That's why I didn't get like a proper picture or video. Hope this tutorial was helpful. Do have a blessed day. Bye.